The scent of frankincense hung in the air as I packed my suitcase, hands trembling. My mother stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Lila, girls from our town don't leave. They certainly don't go to London." Her words felt like stones in my pocket, weighing me down. I zipped my bag shut anyway. That night in 2013, as the stars pierced the dark Omani sky, I made a promise to myself I would return one day, not as a failure, but as proof that dreams can grow even in the most arid soil. My name is Lila. I'm 28 now, but at 19, I was just a girl from a conservative town in Oman who dared to imagine a different life. This is my story. In our town, girls followed a predictable path. School until 18, marriage soon after, children by 22. My father was a bank manager, the only one in our small town, and I grew up watching him count money and approve loans that built homes and businesses. Numbers fascinated me, they held power and possibility. "Baba, teach me," I'd ask, sitting beside his desk after the bank closed. He'd smile and pull out ledgers, showing me how money moved through our community like water. "See how this loan helped Abdul start his date farm. Now he employs 5 people." While other girls my age discussed wedding preparations, I calculated interest rates and dreamed of skyscrapers I'd only seen in magazines. "You have a gift," my father whispered one evening. "But using it will cost you." He wasn't wrong. When I announced my plan to study finance abroad, my extended family erupted. My uncle spoke in harsh tones to my father. Neighbors whispered when I passed. "She'll bring shame. No man will marry her after. Who does she think she is?" My mother, torn between tradition and her daughter's happiness, cried for weeks. "Why can't you be content with what we have here? Why must you leave us?" I had no satisfactory answer, only a burning in my chest that wouldn't quiet down. Only a persistent voice that whispered, "There's more for you out there." I landed at Heathrow with $3,000 saved from working at my father's bank, a scholarship that covered 70% of my tuition, and terror pounding in my veins. The city swallowed me, its gray skies and fast-talking people made me feel invisible. My first flat was a tiny room 9 kilometers from campus. I shared a bathroom with 3 other international students and rationed my meals to make money stretch. The cold seeped into my bones that first winter. I'd never seen snow before, never felt that kind of chill that makes your teeth chatter and your thoughts slow down. Classes were worse. My English, which I'd thought proficient, crashed against academic terminology and British accents. While other students asked brilliant questions, I recorded lectures to replay later, sometimes 5 or 6 times until I understood. During one finance seminar, the professor called on me. I'd prepared an answer about market volatility but froze. "We're waiting, Miss Al-Balushi," he said, impatience edging his voice. 20 pairs of eyes turned to me. I opened my mouth but nothing came out. That night, I called home, sobbing. "I can't do this, Baba. I don't belong here." "Then come home," my mother said quickly in the background. My father waited before speaking. "Remember when you were 7 and wanted to learn to swim? The other children laughed because you were afraid of the water. But by summer's end, you swam better than all of them." "This isn't swimming, Baba." "No," he agreed. "This is your ocean. Bigger and scarier. But you've always known how to stay afloat." 6 months into my degree, I found a job at a small cafe near campus. The owner, Mrs. Patel, was an Indian immigrant who'd built her business from scratch after moving to London 30 years earlier. "You remind me of myself," she told me once, watching me study between customers. Scared but stubborn. Working 20 hours weekly while maintaining a full course load meant sleep became luxury. I developed a system, class notes translated into Arabic at night, financial concepts mapped onto paper in colorful diagrams, flashcards reviewed on the tube ride to work. Gradually, my voice found its strength in seminars. My first A grade came on a paper about Islamic banking principles, knowledge I'd absorbed through osmosis in my father's bank. The professor asked me to present it to the class. Standing at the podium, I saw not judgment in my classmates' eyes but interest. I spoke about how my father's small-town bank operated on principles established centuries ago, about trust and community investment. After class, 3 students approached me about forming a study group. One was Jessica, a London native heading for investment banking. "You understand banking relationships in a way I never considered," she admitted. That study group became my lifeline. We met twice weekly, exchanging perspectives and explaining concepts from our different backgrounds. When Jessica secured an internship at Goldman Sachs, she pushed me to apply too. "They'll never take me," I argued. "I'm still struggling with the language." "You speak the language of finance perfectly," she countered. "The rest is just accent, and yours is charming." The day I received the internship offer, I called home at 3 a.m. Oman time, unable to wait until morning. My father answered, voice thick with sleep. "I got it, Baba," I whispered, afraid saying it too loudly might make it disappear. "Goldman Sachs wants me." His breathing changed, and I knew he was crying. "Your grandfather was a fisherman," he said. His father was a fisherman. I became the first to work indoors. Now my daughter will work in one of the greatest financial institutions in the world. I realized then that my dreams had never been mine alone. Investment banking crushed and rebuilt me. 16-hour days, demanding supervisors, and the constant feeling of being an outsider tested every ounce of my resolve. I was frequently the only woman in meetings, almost always the only Arab. During my second year, I was assigned to a team handling Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds. My background suddenly became an asset. I understood the cultural nuances and negotiations that my British colleagues missed. "How did you know the sheikh wouldn't agree to those terms?" my manager asked after a particularly tense meeting. "The way he positioned his hands during your presentation," I explained. "In Gulf culture, that's a sign of polite disagreement." My cultural intelligence combined with financial acumen earned me a full-time offer upon graduation. Starting salary, $95,000 plus bonus, more money than my entire extended family made in a year. The day I moved from my student housing to my own apartment, I sat alone on the floor of my empty living room and cried. Not from sadness but from the vertigo of ascent, how far I'd climbed from that terrified girl who landed at Heathrow. 5 years into my career, I returned to Oman for my cousin's wedding. The town looked smaller, the streets narrower than I remembered. People stared, some with admiration, others with judgment. An aunt pulled me aside during the celebration. "You never married," she noted, disapproval thinning her lips. "I built something else first," I replied. Later that night, a young woman approached me. She introduced herself as my neighbor's daughter, now 17. "My father says you work in finance in London. I want to study economics. Can women really succeed there?" Her question transported me back to my own uncertainty. I saw in her eyes the same hunger that had driven me. "Give me your email," I told her. "We'll talk about scholarships and applications." On the flight back to London, a plan formed in my mind. Within 6 months, I launched a mentorship program for young Middle Eastern women interested in finance. Starting with 5 ments, we met via video calls weekly. I guided them through university applications, helped with personal statements, connected them with resources. My firm took notice. They featured the program in their diversity initiatives, offering internship slots to my ments. What began as personal passion became organizational commitment. Today, the program supports 45 young women from conservative backgrounds across the Middle East. Now at 28, I lead a team at one of London's premier investment firms. My office overlooks the Thames, a daily reminder of how far I've traveled from the desert. Last month, I brought my parents to London for their first visit. My mother, who once cried at my departure, beamed as she toured my office. "All those nights I prayed for your return," she admitted, but I see now you were building something important. My father, quiet as always, simply squeezed my hand as we looked out over the city. The path between the person you're raised to be and the person you dream of becoming is rarely straight. It cuts through deserts of doubt and oceans of fear. You lose parts of yourself along the way. My accent has softened, my daily habits westernized. Yet the core remains, the girl who sat beside her father's desk, fascinated by numbers and possibilities. To those reading this who stand where I once did, on the edge of a leap, torn between roots and wings, I say this: the world needs your unique perspective. Your struggle to belong in new places will transform those places. You're outsiders, I will see solutions others miss. The cost is real. There are nights of bone-deep loneliness, cultural tensions that never fully resolve, pieces of home you cannot recreate. But what you build might become a bridge for others to cross after you. When I mentor young women now, I tell them what I wish someone had told me: your difference is not a disadvantage. It's your greatest asset. The world doesn't need another banker who thinks like all the others. It needs you, with your history, your culture, your unique view of how money moves and matters. The girl who left Oman 9 years ago couldn't have imagined the woman I've become. She would be proud, I think, but also surprised. The journey changed me in ways I never anticipated. I'm stronger, yes, but also more understanding of both the world I left and the one I joined. What about you? What ocean are you afraid to cross? What voice inside whispers of possibilities beyond your horizon? Listen to it. The path might break your heart and remake you, but on the other side stands a version of yourself you haven't yet met, one who will look back at where you started with wonder at how far you've come.